Since the dawn of America, at least 5 different people have wondered one big question. Out of all states, which one's the worst? And that question was unanswered until 1867, when Nebraska decided to become a state and rear its ugly little head. Now, when Nebraska joined the Union, it was pretty inconspicuous because nothing was happening there, and that is normal for a state that has just joined. But still, after 150 years, Nebraska has yet to do more than one single notable thing in its entire history. And now, it has become way more than just a bit of me hating on Nebraska, and now I've legitimately started to have an unreasonable disdain for the Cornhusker state. This is the official podcast of my totally made-up organization, the Nebraska Haters Society of America. So one of the big problems that Nebraska faces is that it has a really low population density, and that correlates to having very low amounts of entertainment. Because think about it like this: if you don't have many people in a field full of corn, would you want to build a movie theater there, or in a big city where there's a lot of people? And Nebraska is in a sharp lack of cities, so there's nothing to do there, and there's 4 entire things, and one of them is a giant ball of stamps, and that is legitimately one of the best things that Nebraska can do. You know that the state is at a low point when a ball of stamps is within the top 5 best and most interesting parts of the state. Then there's Nebraska sports, and Nebraska sports are honestly really strange because from the sources that I have found, Nebraska seems to be insanely proud of its sports. They put apparently a decent amount of effort into it, and if it was top 10 in college sports, maybe that would make Nebraska a little bit notable, which is the entire reason why Nebraska isn't actually that good, in my opinion. I call absolute cap. Its sporting is not good. It is literally 49th. The Nebraska Cornhuskers, which are the main team of Nebraska, and they don't really spend much time or effort in most other sports, and they only rank 49th in college sports. So Ohio has 5 teams, but that still means that Ohio beats Nebraska at least 3 times. And that's honestly really sad for a state that's only personality trait is football and corn. And speaking of corn, it's only number 2. For a state that is literally called the Cornhusker state. Their big football team is the Cornhuskers. They have corn on their flag. Nebraska is obsessed with corn, but Iowa still beats them in husking corn. The Cornhusker state isn't even the best at husking corn. Their entire personality isn't even unique to them. Iowa does it better. Illinois is only barely doing it worse. And literally nothing notably unique happens in Nebraska. According to TripAdvisor, one of the number 1 things to do in Nebraska is a zoo. The Henry Dorley Zoo. And that zoo is pretty good. But where else has a pretty good zoo? San Diego. And you cannot tell me that you want to go to Omaha, Nebraska over San Diego, California. And there's an old market with, quote, historical district with cobblestone streets. You know what else is a historical district with cobblestone streets? The entirety of Europe. And then, after that, is the Durham Museum, which is beautiful architecture. Again, Europe exists. Bob Carey Pedestrian Bridge, it's a bridge that's lighted up. Have they heard about the Golden Gate Bridge before? And some of the biggest parts of Nebraska and its tourism is its nature. And sure, yeah, it's semi-unpolluted, but you know what else is unpolluted? Alaska. And Alaska's way prettier and way better at being nature. And Nebraska is just flat. That's it. Literally without Omaha, you also take away Berkshire Hathaway, which is the one single thing that is quite possibly saving Nebraska from complete irrelevance. Because Berkshire Hathaway is like a pretty notable company. Technically, they're an international company, but they're headquartered in Omaha. If you take out Omaha, that's like the entire reason why you would go to Nebraska. Just gone. There's no reason anymore. And that's Omaha. Omaha is just Diet Kansas City. It's honestly, like, infuriating how Nebraska manages to do that and, like, still call itself a state, and yet Puerto Rico, which is way more interesting, isn't one yet. How do we have Nebraska as a state, and then Puerto Rico's still here? Now, what can we take out of this? That's not a rhetorical question. I'm legitimately asking because I have no clue. Maybe a conclusion that we can take is to dig out a giant hole where Nebraska is, fill it with water, and then put Puerto Rico there. That seems like a plan of all time. That's why we should sink Nebraska. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.